We got a new poll out in the race for New York City mayor, and it portends potentially a big shakeup. So for the first time, Catherine Garcia, longtime New York City public servant, leads narrowly at 21%. Adams is the Brooklyn Borough president is at 20, and Andrew Yang slipped down to third place at 16. Scott Stringer then down in fourth at 10%. He seems to have, Stringer had a little bit of a bump.
He had some momentum.
He had some momentum. Progressive groups were coalescing behind him. Then these assault harassment allegations came out against him. That seems to have hurt him. Catherine Garcia wasn't getting much traction, but the New York Times editorial board endorsed her. That seems to be coalescing some support behind her. Look, I don't want to read too much. It's one poll, so take it with gigantic grains of salt and all of that. But there have been other polls recently that have also shown Yang starting to slip and him and Adams really vying for that 1 and 2 position. This is the very first one that has Catherine Garcia in the lead. And in terms of Andrew, I think I'm not in New York City, and so I don't want to overstate my analysis of the race and how voters are taking what's going on there. But to me, just looking from the outside, what really has always made Andrew special is he just felt very real.
Yes.
Felt very authentic.
That's his superpower.
That was his superpower. And gave him I always gave him a lot of slack when I would disagree with him because I felt like he was coming from the right place. I felt like he would listen to criticism and adjust. I felt like he really was doing his best to get at the right answer, even if he wasn't always in the place that I was. I don't think he's had that quality during this race, just to put it really bluntly, especially on issues with regards to the Jewish community in the city of New York. He's gone out of his way to, talk about BDS, the comments he made about Israel, which showed no care and concern for what was going on for Palestinians at this time. Frankly, it's felt like pandering, and that's the polar opposite of what people found so appealing about him and his personality. So it's been disappointing to see.
It's possible that will be enough to sink him, but I think he's still so real relative to the rest of the field that he still very much has a chance. Now, this is just one poll, so let's take that with a grain of salt. But remember, look, New York Times is a very powerful institution in Democratic primaries, especially in the New York City Democratic primary. There are a lot of upper middle class white liberals who live and die by the New York Times. And, Catherine Garcia's got a pretty good resume. She's the former city sanitation commissioner. She's very much I'll take the trash, make the trains run on time, that type of thing, which is very attractive to a lot of people. And then it would also make sense that Eric Adams would come up very high amongst that group too, talking a lot about crime, which is the number 2 issue amongst the New York City Democratic electorate in this mayoral race. So I am really interested to see how it all works, especially because of ranked choice voting. There's actually still a world where both Catherine Garcia and Eric Adams could be at the top, but Yang, because he's such a ubiquitous number 2 choice, could actually come in and take it from the top. We actually don't have a very good idea of where this race is, and these polls all over the map generally just show me, I think, that it's totally undecided, anyone's game before the vote.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's a very hard race to poll.
Yeah.
Polls have issues, as we've covered here anyway. And the introduction of ranked choice voting makes it even harder to predict the ultimate outcome. Garcia apparently has a lot of second and third choice support as well. And I do recall a while back, Yang had said, I'm going to hire Catherine Garcia because she's so well respected in terms of just problem solving within City Hall. And so, of course, after he said that, she was like, why would you vote for this guy who needs me to run the government? Why don't you just vote for me? Which is essentially the case that the New York Times made. There's another weird story that I don't know. Yeah. I legitimately don't know what to make of it, but I'm just going to put it out there about Dianne Morales, who was maybe the leftiest candidate in the race. Several of her campaign staff, including reportedly potentially her campaign manager, have quit here, late stage in the game. She went dark for a day or two. Ross Barkin, who's been on this show and who follows New York City politics and well-sourced there very closely, said that it was over an issue of pay or lack of pay. That's not been confirmed. This report posits that there may have been some sort of like staff bad behavior and even candidate bad behavior, but it's very amorphous and very vague and very nonspecific. So I don't know what's going on there, but something seems to be amiss over at the Dianne Morales campaign. We don't know exactly what.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. This entire race has been fascinating, and I really just love watching it all happen. So
more Rising for you after this.